Today on Drawbli,
Ben is drawing Spirit.
click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And comment below with other ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
So I am drawing a cute V-shaped mouth spirit character.
So what about this image invoked spirit to you?
I don't know exactly. I just thought it was a cool artwork, but I add a little more spirit theme to it. I give her like a glowing orb in her hand.
Is this a photo or a digital art in your reference?
This is a photo.
This is a photo? Okay.
That's a real human being.
That's a real human being.
That I am drawing.
Human being.
Yes.
Cool.
So of course, starting out with my beautiful lines, I was actually not quite yet there, but there was a point during this early sketch where I was like, I kind of like the direction that this is going. It had some fun energy. I was liking the shape of the hair in the silhouette.
Yeah,
there's
that's
just
a good feeling.
Yeah, there's like a lot of fun stuff. As you can see, look at that little orb.
There's the orb.
Little orb.
I like
She's got to ponder her orb.
The shape language of the orb and her glasses, like repeating circles.
Yeah, that was intentional, or at least somewhat. So I had everything as these hard and angular shapes, except for that orb and the glasses. So when you have opposing shape language, it draws your focus and attention to it. So, bringing the attention to the eyes.
I love that.
Face,
I love that you're focusing on shape language too. It's so fun to get to we learn so much about art and all these different concepts and rules. And yeah, you can't keep all of them in your head at once for every drawing, but it's so fun to get to jump around and think, for this drawing, I'm just going to focus on this and throw out the other things. It keeps it so fresh and interesting.
Yeah, there's like a million possible things you could focus on.
Yeah.
Like I think you did something recently where you're focusing on line art. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked at all your drawings. That's part of the fun of Drawbli, is not getting to see everything that the other person's working on.
Yeah, and I love getting to watch the playback because, of course, obviously I don't watch you create this in real time, so I
love getting to watch the playback, so I can I totally messed that up, or ooh, that was actually kind of cool. I should do that more in the future.
Sometimes I've watched mine back lately just silently by myself, because then I can really look and be like, oh my gosh, why am I wasting so much time on this step? I could speed that up.
Yeah.
It's like watching the play-by-play after a game if you're an athlete.
And then just yelling at your TV like, this moron, he can't catch a ball.
Oh, I meant athletes watching themselves.
Oh,
but
yeah, totally, for
Not
sure.
that I've ever done that, but except, I do watch that when I practice headstands.
Oh, you watch yourself do a headstand?
Yeah, I've recorded myself practicing headstands.
I've never recorded myself doing a handstand, but I can do a handstand.
I have a recording of you doing a handstand.
Oh, that's right,
you
on
can
the
look
beach.
at it if you want.
And I was extremely sunburned.
You were a lobster.
Yes, I was. Well, hey, speaking of spirits, you've been watching a lot of Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm about halfway through
that
Brotherhood.
involves a lot of spirit or soul stuff going on.
Yes, I just came to a big reveal in the middle of the show. I won't spoil
Spoilers.
it. Although, I would not
The show's been around for a very long time, but still spoilers.
Right. That being said, I wouldn't appreciate it if somebody spoiled it for me just because, you should have watched it by now. So I won't say anything, but I will say I was pretty impressed by what was seen by one of the characters in this certain realm. So
that's nothing. You can't give a little more than that. No? Is that big of a deal?
It had to do with his brother.
Oh. Yeah, I like that show a lot, but you've been watching it on your own, and every time I look over at you watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot that happened. It's been so long since I've seen it. That anime is actually pretty old at this point, but
even Brotherhood, the remake.
It's not technically a remake, but the first version has a lot of stuff that's not in the original. Brotherhood's a lot better. If you're gonna watch Full Metal, definitely
Next
watch
up on Drawbli,
Brotherhood.
we discuss Brotherhood in great detail. Full Metal Alchemist discussion channel.
Yes, our new Full Metal chat.
This girl, I looked over and saw her the other day while you were working on her, and I just love your colors. I love that teal she's wearing. I mean, I know it's the colors that are in the reference, but I feel like you punched them up really well, and I like the lighting on her sleeve on that side.
Thank you.
Yeah, lighting is cool. I want to get better at it.
Lighting is cool. I was actually really nervous about all the details in this. I don't think this is a kimono because it doesn't have the correct flap in the front, so I'm not exactly sure.
You attacked this really thoughtfully and well, I thought, where you're like, it looks like you thought to yourself, hey, they're bright, they stand out, they're clear. I'm going to emphasize that, and we're not going to worry about getting everything like down to the last thread right.
Oh no, not at all.
But
it's just
the
getting the
idea
overall,
is there.
the overall gist of what's going on, like capturing some of the fish shapes, some of the different wavy lines. I mean, there's just like a lot of like the cherry blossoms on the belt. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on, and I wanted to get some of that.
Yeah. Do you remember how long you spent on this piece in its entirety?
Not exactly, but I think it was less than 2 hours.
Wow.
But it's been a minute. I could look back at the footage.
Yeah. No. I was just curious if you knew. I only asked because I started to make note of how long I'm spending on some of my art, just to see if there's a difference I average between like, I don't know, 2 to 5 hours currently.
Yeah, same. It depends. It depends on the piece, but like for this one, I think this one was surprisingly short. But I have another thing that I'm working on that I've told you about at great detail of how I've spent like maybe 4 or 5 hours on it, and it still looks horrible. And I think I'm just going to throw it away.
I've rarely seen you so discouraged.
But if it ever comes up on Drawbli, and if I ever show it, I will mention it as being that one. I don't know if it ever will make it onto it, but I'll talk about it in great detail.
I have one that almost didn't make it on, that's coming up. But the reason I went back and finished it was because we're professional artists now, and that means we have deadlines, and I had to get one ready for Drawbli.
Wow.
And so even though it's not my favorite, or wasn't my favorite, I went back and finished it, ended up liking it a lot more. That's my 2 cents, my words of hopeful encouragement. But yeah, sometimes you just don't like it.
Yeah, we're professional artists, Abby.
That's the element of professionalism that I'm feeling these days. It's like,
that's a really good way to tackle things, because in general, just like forcing yourself to put stuff out, like to call something done, even when it's not like as good as it could be or as good as you can make it. Sometimes it's best to just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's something I've been working on, allowing myself to mentally embrace more, is just saying, hey, I see a bunch of things more I could do, but we're just gonna call it done. It looks overall the way I want it to look. Your piece, though, is looking amazing. I'm sure you were proud of this by the time you were done, as well you should be, because it turned out so cool.
Yeah, one thing that I was wanting to improve on it, though, with the face, is the face still feels like very straight on and very flat, whereas in my reference, her head is twisted and tilted down ever so slightly. And I just couldn't get that represented. At the end, I do some like warping to the face to try to push it in that direction. But that is something that I would like to, try to get better at for sure. Okay. Getting away from that flat face. Flat shapes, flat forms in general.
Well, who better to tackle that than you, who encounters every image from every possible angle when you make a 3D representation of it. I think you'll get there pretty quickly, especially if that's your focus. But yeah, I see what you're saying, where she's kind of turned and pointed down.
It's very slight, very subtle.
Yeah, but do you feel like it would help you to draw just very much the base form of the head with like the lines,
contours,
exactly,
the cross contours,
the very
as they
just
call
basic
it.
Cross contours.
That might be helpful. Placing that, angled off to the side, just in the early stages. Typically, I don't like to do that because when my lines get messy during the early stage, it makes everything from that moving forward a lot harder, because your brain can kind of interpret that as like some different things that aren't necessarily there. It just depends on the person.
Definitely.
I'm not a huge fan of doing that typically.
Okay. Yeah, I have no other ideas then. You're on your own, kid. You'll get there. Oh, the eyes are turning out so good. I like this eye rendering you're doing a lot. I like the way you render eyes. I'm still kind of struggling with that digitally. I drew so many eyes in high school, and yet when I try to like paint them digitally, I'm just kind of falling flat half the time. They're too messy. They're all over the place. My next, actually, the video coming up after this
Ooh.
one that you'll see is
I can't wait.
a very typical struggle I have with eyes. Maybe you'll have some good words of advice for me, but
Doubtful, but maybe.
yeah, I like the reflection on her glasses. She's so cute.
Thank you.
Ooh, her orb is glowing.
The orb is glowing.
Yeah. This is awesome. What a great way to interpret the word spirit.
And then here at the end, something that I do, because typically I merge my lines with everything else, and I just like don't care about them. I cut out all of the nasty, extra dirty edges. So really clean and sharpen things up here at the end.
Yeah, that's nice. From my boots episode, I realized I need to make a good habit of making a pass like that, because for that episode especially, I left some mess in there. Oh, and here she is, all done. Oh my gosh,
Beautiful.
so beautiful. She turned out amazing.
Oh, thank you.
She looks good.
Yeah, there's, obviously I think I really liked working on this one. I think this one was a lot of fun. I think I got a lot of my own style in there.
Her clothes look like actual silk, which is really cool.
Ooh, thank you. Yeah, it's something that I would like to work on, more. I feel like I could work on this one more. That's how much I was enjoying this one.
I would love to get her outfit.
Well, speaking of getting outfits, you can see us draw more outfits?
Where I'm always drawing
by clicking that subscribe button.
And comment below with other ideas of what we can draw to improve as artists.
And this is the part where we say...
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't own any kimonos yet, but now that I'm a full-fledged weeb, I should get one.
I didn't know that you were a full-fledged weeb.
Maybe
Congratulations.
not full-fledged. I got my training wheels on and my water wings. My water weebs.